Oh, great Odin's raven.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy.
This is ridiculous. Okay, I'll go.
Hello and welcome to the FilmPulse.net podcast. This is episode number 63. My name is Adam. With me today we have Kevin. How are you, Kevin?
I'm doing all right.
Doing all right. Today we have a great show lined up. We have two interviews. First, we'll be speaking with director Tony Shaff on his film Hotline, which is our Kickstart Sunday project of the week. Then I had a chance to have a chat with Matthew Buchanan, the creator of Letterboxd.com.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, we'll be talking about some of what we've been watching, including a quick review of The Place Beyond the Pines. We'll be going over this week's movie predictions and DVD and Blu Ray releases. First, let's jump right into a conversation with Tony Shaff, the director of the upcoming documentary Hotline. Let's just jump right into it, talk about Hotline. Why don't you tell us what Hotline is first?
Well, Hotline it's a feature-length documentary film, and what we're doing with the film is talking to the callers and workers of a huge wide array of hotlines across the country. We've spoken with everything from really serious hotlines like crisis and suicide hotlines to a phone sex hotline that runs out of Portland, Oregon. And what we're doing is we're talking to these callers and workers and really just trying to get to the heart of what it is that hotlines are and what makes them still relevant in today's society.
So I guess my question is, like you kind of allude to in the Kickstarter video, a lot of people, including myself, didn't think that there was really too much of a market for hotlines these days, and I guess that's not really the case.
Right. Well, I mean, I think that the sort of the climate for hotlines has changed quite a bit. Back in the day, I think when we're talking with people, we're realizing that the heyday of hotlines are those 900 numbers that we all remember from our youth. 900 call this, or whether it's the phone sex hotlines or the psychic hotlines, or He-Man and She-Ra, with their recorded messages.
Oh yeah.
But sort of what is that people are still in this need to communicate with each other. And I think I went into the film really thinking that in this day and age when we're so digitally isolated, where we're using our devices to text and to tweet at each other and to like things on Facebook to show our approval, we're not really picking up that phone and having voice-to-voice communication. And these hotlines are an opportunity for people who maybe just want to talk, to call someone, even though it's a stranger, to have a conversation and to, there's a lot of different reasons, but I think a lot of it is just that matter of connection. Sometimes, it's about that confession. Sometimes it's a matter of allowing yourself to be a different persona, to be something else for a minute. And also maybe to explore some things that you couldn't explore with the people closest to you, whether it's suicidal thoughts or some sort of sexual fantasy.
Mm-hmm. So in the film, you talk to the operators of these lines as well as some of the people that call into them. How did you go about finding people that regularly call into these lines?
Well, that's definitely been a big challenge for us, because for the most part, people calling into hotlines are sort of seeking that anonymity, and they don't want to be revealed of their identities. And we're still in the process. I think on the Kickstarter you see we're like 80% done with production. Well, my main focus now is to find these callers. So if any of your listeners happen to be regular callers into hotlines, certainly they can contact me, and I'd love to talk to them more. We do have there is one person that we've spoken with who it was a little bit of an interesting situation. I was looking for someone who was maybe an expert on suicide hotlines. And he said, there's this woman who actually spoke at the National Convention for Suicidology. And she's a woman a really great woman who we interviewed about her experiences with suicide hotlines as a caller, and she was just very open about it, and it was willing to sort of come out and talk about her experiences as a caller, with the hopes of allowing other people to feel like they are able to talk in their everyday lives about their own suicidal thoughts. So, as far as trying to find other callers, it's pretty similar to another one of our characters, Jeff One Lonely Guy. Are you guys familiar with Jeff One Lonely Guy?
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not either. I just found out about him through this.
Yeah,
Very interesting.
He is. He's a really interesting guy. He was sort of feeling lonely and isolated, kind of wanted to make some friends in the city, and posted a flyer around New York that said, if you want to talk about anything, just call this number, and posted this number, which we've sort of seen as being like a one-man hotline. And then that picture got taken by someone here in the city. It started getting posted all over the internet on Reddit or Imgur, and then next thing you know, he has like 80,000 calls over the past year. So we're sort of looking in that same vein of like, have you ever called a hotline? And then I have a phone number that I've set up that will be the place for people to call and talk to me. And it's actually, I'll probably end up doing the interviews with the intention of not showing their faces at all. And getting a chance to really explore that anonymity a bit and allow us then to have an interesting visual component to the film. And yeah, so sorry, I feel like I ramble a lot here about this movie.
No, you're fine. I guess, so you worked for Miss Cleo. I want to talk about that a little bit because I find that to be incredibly interesting as well. Because we've all heard of Miss Cleo and her psychic hotline. I was wondering if you could tell me about maybe the atmosphere or what goes into working for that company.
Well, yeah, it was really interesting because what had happened was my car had broken down when I first moved out to LA, and I needed to find work that I could do either by jumping on a bus, and public transportation isn't the greatest in LA, or work from home. So I went in for an interview at this place, and it was sort of what you would expect from a call center, like one of these hotlines. It was a smoky room with probably 30 women sitting at cubicles, with stacks of tarot cards on their desks, and they were just sort of reading the tarot card and then flipping it over and doing the next one. And they didn't really ask me if I was a psychic or anything. I just agreed to do it. They said, "Do you want to work from home or here?" I said, "I want to work from home." It didn't seem like the best work environment for me. But so then, yeah, I worked from home it was very brief. I want to say that I worked there for like 6 to 8 weeks, just enough to save up some money to fix my car. I thought it was going to be easy money, but it was actually really difficult. I would dial into my home phone, and then I would just wait for a call. And then whenever the phone rang, I would just talk to whoever it was. It was just going to be one random conversation after the other. And it would be, I would say for the most part, it was probably 80% women, and probably 80% of those calls were dealing with relationship issues. And I knew that I was not a psychic per se, but I did have tarot cards that I was reading, and I kind of just allowed the conversation I allowed the tarot cards to be a conversation piece, and we just talked about their lives. A lot of people didn't want to know a very specific answer. It was just a matter of them telling their story. There were a lot of really hilarious calls for me, where it was like, I can't find my keys. Where are my keys? And it was, I don't know, it's like, that's when I really wish I could have been a psychic, because it probably could have saved some people some time. But there was one call that really stands out for me, and it was a Gulf War veteran who had he was actually in the hospital, and he said that there was some sort of chemical agent that was dumped on his squad, I guess, and he wanted to know if his family would receive the money from the government before he died. So it was really an intense call. He was in his hospital bed. We talked for probably a half an hour, and it was really just a matter of him wanting to make sure his family was taken care of and express some of his fear of dying. Wow. So it was really intense, but at the same time, I remember that call that we were laughing during the call, and at the same time, I was trying to just make him feel comfortable with this idea of his family will be taken care of. So it was insane, but I got out of it pretty quick. I mean, my career path wasn't really going to be in the telephone hotline industry. But my little Volkswagen Jetta got fixed, and I was able to go on to another job.
And then you actually interview Miss Cleo for this documentary too, correct?
Right, most definitely. We that was one of my big things. I knew that if I was doing this film, that I needed to talk to Miss Cleo. She was the person when I was working the hotline. People would say, "I want to talk to Miss Cleo," and I would say, "Well, I'm so sorry. Miss Cleo's on a book signing tour." But I'm Samuel. Can I help you? So we were able to get a hold of Miss Cleo, and it's interesting. She actually before she made the decision to do the interview, she talked to some of my dead ancestors and I guess my dead ancestors. They vouched for me, so I have to thank them for allowing the interview to happen.
Oh, nice. So it was like her. Was this actually like her creation? The whole the hotline thing, her psychic hotline?
No, it wasn't at all. She started off just like me. She saw an ad in the back of a newspaper. She said, "Oh, she's actually." I forget actually the term that she uses, but she practices voodoo. So she's in that world already. So she's like, well, I can do this. I'll take this job on. She was a single mom, and she needed to work from home to supplement her income. So she was getting paid, the 14 cents a minute, just like I was. But what had happened was, and what she describes in her interview is that they had found out that she was just a really great telephone psychic, and they decided to have her start doing a live television show. And those are maybe what you might remember too from the hotline commercials. It would be live callers calling into her, and then she would tell them she'd shoot straight from the hip basically and tell them what the deal was. So then she became more of the spokesperson for the company, and like she says, it was still, as a spokesperson, she was not making tons of money. But she was most definitely the face of it, and I think that it probably did make the company a lot of money.
Now, is this company still around?
No, I don't believe so. It's probably transferred owners a bit, but the owners that were involved, they most definitely did not move forward with the company after all of the lawsuits.
Yeah. And then I also wanted to mention for the listeners, there is you do have a clip on the Kickstarter page from your interview with Miss Cleo, so definitely check that out. Now, I want to talk about the Kickstarter project itself. So you're looking, you said you have 80% production done, so the bulk of this funding is going to be for post-production, right?
Right, most definitely. We're going to continue to shoot while we start up our edit, which we'll be starting up our edit here in about 3 weeks, I suppose. And the money will be going towards post-production, getting us up into a cut of the film. And for everything up until now, we've been self-funding all of the production and all of the travel across the country. But now it's time to sit down and actually weave together these stories and get a film for people to start watching. So it's a pretty modest Kickstarter, I would say, to get us through post-production, but we're raising just what we need to get to that point. And yeah, I mean, it's definitely been a challenge. Kickstarter, I've been supporting Kickstarter projects for years, and when it was time for me to step up and do my own, I realized that it is an awful lot of work to raise this money.
Oh yeah, that's pretty much what we hear from everybody we talk to. So let's talk about some of the incentives you have for the project. What are some maybe highlights that you want to get people in on? Well,
the big incentive, Miss Cleo has volunteered her services as a telephone psychic to do a reading for people who may have been fans who never got that chance to talk to her. So at the $500 level, we have one left actually of Miss Cleo's readings. And, if you don't want to go with the $500 reading, you can call me. At $250, I will do a psychic reading with you. I'm going to dust off my psychic reading skills, and I'll do a reading with you. And, there's obviously, if you want to be an executive producer on the film for $5,000, you can be an executive producer. Of course, there are smaller levels. I think that one of the most popular ones is just getting a copy of the film. I think it's we're actually offering people a copy of the film, either a digital download or a DVD. And of course, there's thanks on the website, thanks in the credits. Some people like to see their name in the credits. I know that my grandma always she's like waiting for the day for my name to be on the big screen. So that was a big deal. And yeah, I mean, there's a few other things that at the $3 level. We'll give you a phone number to call where you can hear a hotline from the 80s or 90s, a random hotline. You can sort of get a sense of what those were. It'll actually be cheaper for you than if you had picked up the phone when you were 12.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are some of the incentives. And I think a lot of people that go to Kickstarter, Kickstarter is a bit of a marketplace where you're selling goods, but I think really this is a matter of just supporting the project and showing that you're behind us and that this film will get made because of you.
Absolutely, it's almost like when you pledge to PBS or NPR, you get a little something there, but it's really about supporting the project.
Yeah, most definitely, and it's been overwhelming. Like the number of people that have supported us, strangers, and people I went to high school with that I haven't seen in 20 years. It's been really phenomenal. The support, and the stranger who gives me $1 sometimes just makes my day, because it's like, yeah, you're behind me, you get this project, you understand, and you are you're willing to open up your checkbook for $1.
Absolutely. Well, Tony, thank you so much. The website, you have a website set up for this, is hotlinedoc.com.
That's correct, hotlinedoc.com. We're also on Facebook. It's Hotline Doc on Facebook, and Twitter. We're at Hotline Doc. So
great. Well, Tony, thanks so much for your time.
All right, thank you guys so much.
Thank you again, Tony. Make sure you click on the donate link in the show notes, or check out the Kickstart Sunday section of filmpulse.net to show your support. Next, I had the opportunity to speak with Matthew Buchanan, who's the creator of Letterboxd.com, which we use every day here at Film Pulse.
Yeah,
so
unhealthy. Extremely unhealthy.
So let's go ahead and give that a listen. Let's just start things off maybe by introducing yourself and telling us, for those who don't know, what Letterboxd is.
Sure. My name is Matthew Buchanan. Letterboxd was my idea, and it has been created by a small team within a web development studio that I run in Auckland, New Zealand. Letterboxd is, I guess, the closest equivalent is that it's something like Goodreads for film. So what Goodreads offers in terms of recommendations of books, reviews of books from your friends. We searched around in 2010 looking for the social equivalent of that for film, and we really came up a bit short. There were some established players. IMDb has some functionality in that area, but they hide it under all sorts of other junk, and really it wasn't up to scratch. So I guess we decided that we wanted to build it. So we went ahead and did that. It took about 8 months to get to a first beta, and we launched at the end of 2011.
So was it really kind of just your love of movies that made you decide to start this project?
That was part of it, I guess. The selfish part of this was that I wanted to get better at writing about film. Obviously, a love of film dating back to being a small wee fella was definitely played into that. And having spent a bit of time on the web, you create entities that, if you're on the creation side of doing things on the web, you create stuff that you get attached to. And I think we had worked on a lot of client projects but nothing that we felt we could, have ownership of, and that could be our thing. And so that was a big part of it as well. I'm not sure how well I've done on improving my ability to write about film, but we've loved putting together the site and seeing how the community has risen around it.
Yeah, and I think that that's kind of one of the most endearing qualities of the site, is that even back before you opened it to the public, and I want to talk about that in just a minute, but when it was invite only, the community was still such a thriving group of people that you just have these great, intelligent reviews for movies, and it really, I feel like it really just, the community really came around this website.
Thank you. I'm not sure what the cause of that was, other than we put our heart into making what we wanted to use, and hoped that other like-minded cinema goers would and film lovers would join in and come to the party. And we were very fortunate that we were able to attract some great writers and some people that think deeply about cinema, and a lot of the sort of community has grown from there.
Well, I think that one of the big things is the aesthetics of the site, and that coupled with the functionality, I think that it really caters to the true movie lover, and it's just such a good experience to be on the site. It's easy to use, it looks great, and it's got tons of great information, and I think that that's really what drew people in initially.
Right. Well, that's a huge compliment, and I think we struggled early on with trying to strike that balance between what is a simple idea, but that if you let it run away with itself, it can get quite complex. And there's still a fair bit on there, and there's still parts of the site that we look at and that we see as still being a little bit complex or a little bit busy, and it's our continued sort of challenge to support those members that are suggesting new stuff, that we often get suggestions from the community about options that could make the site better, and to be able to execute on the ones that we agree with without making the site sort of overly complex is a big challenge, but we're making steady progress.
And I think that going back to the aesthetics, like it's a very clean site, and you don't have that many ads, and you do have some small ads on there. Now, my question is, have you been able to cover the cost to run the site with the ads and the inclusion of the new pro account levels?
Let's say that we're making inroads into covering the hosting costs of the site. Mm-hmm. The site development we have funded through our studio, and it's as you can probably tell, we've been working on it for a few years now. So you count up the weeks and months that go by, and literally we've put thousands of hours into the creation of it. And at the size that we are now, the ad revenue and the pro revenue is it's a great start, but it's certainly not at a place where I would say we're anywhere close to a break even. But we are in it for the long run, and we feel that as we build the size of the community, that these metrics will start to get better and better for the continued financial success of the site.
Yeah, and I'm sure that there's a great amount of community support. Now that the site has gone public, have you noticed any bit changes with the site other than just the sheer number of users? And how many members are there right now?
We're coming up to 55,000.
Wow.
So it's it continues to I guess grow at a fairly steady rate, which is great. We one of our challenges is to see how we can sort of start to drive those the community numbers up, and we're looking at some avenues of helping us out there. In terms of changes from the site since it went live, I think one of the things that took us a little bit by surprise was that once we did open it up, we went from this dedicated community of film goers and film lovers who were beautifully well behaved and to each other. And I guess we open up to the public, and it's like anywhere you start to see that that negative elements can creep in there. So we've put a lot of effort into being able to just handle those sort of slightly less savoury elements, and so over the last couple of months we've put measures in place that allow us to prevent people from commenting for a certain length of time if they've shown themselves to be unable to contribute to the cause in a civil manner, and such like. So I think we're very intent on keeping Letterboxd a safe and happy place, and don't really need to deal with that kind of I guess less savoury attitudes.
And that was, I think, a big concern with a lot of the people that were on the site before you opened it up to the public. I think that a lot of us were like, what's going to happen once everybody can join? And wasn't there, like, shortly after you opened it up, there was some sort of something happened involving like a death threat or something like that on the site?
Yeah, there was a member who had received a threat via email. We don't really know much about it, and so I'm not really able to talk much about it. But it's I can't really say what the cause of it was. It's just, I guess, with any network that grows at a decent rate, there will be these sort of negative influences, and our I guess charter now is to help everyone to feel safe and to feel that they have an avenue where they can report any behaviour that's against the community policy.
One thing that I like is that you can kind of create your own little community. So, like, for me personally, I rarely see any of that stuff because I pretty much just follow my friends on the site and the people whose reviews that I read that I like, and want to see what they're up to. So it's like you can kind of filter yourself away from that to a certain extent as well.
Yeah, we believe that to be the case as well, and one of the things that we're doing at the moment is trying to improve the way that we surface interesting content, so that joke reviews and that sort of thing, while they may be funny, don't always add to the sort of more serious side of actually wanting to access good film criticism and good film writing. So we continue to put a bit of effort into making that experience a little better as well.
Now, one of the more sought after questions that we received is you recently offered up a pro version, and was the higher level was a
patron
version, and everyone wants to know what you have in plans as far as plans to offer the pro members and the patrons in the future.
Sure. So we the first thing that we offered to pro account holders was the year in review, which was a summary of their previous year's worth of activity on Letterboxd,
which is worth the price right there, I must say.
Well, thank you. It was, I guess, we got towards the end of 2012, and we were thinking, how can we? This is the first full year of operation of the site. How can we kind of give a sort of an overview of activity on the site? And so we conceived of this sort of infographic style huge page, and came up with various metrics that we felt would be interesting to the community, and then it was a natural extension of that to be able to generate a similar page for the pro account holders, which I think, coupled with the ability to tag a few of your best of the year lists and what have you, and have them automatically included on there. I think we got heaps of great feedback that was very thrilling, particularly to people that had close to a year's worth of activity stored on the site. So one of the next items on the to-do list is to do a similar thing for the current year in progress. It's great looking back on last year, but as we get further into 2013, it'll be nice to be able to provide a sort of a running, I guess, commentary on film watching for the year to date. So that's one of the things that are coming up. I don't really want to speculate on the other stuff that we have planned, because pre-announcing features that invariably might get delayed or changed may end up upsetting people that put their.
No, I can understand that completely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so that the current year, like, I guess, in review will be available to pro members as well. Yes, yeah, that's the plan. We have some further stuff coming that we're currently developing, and with each new feature that we add, we're generally thinking about its suitability for the site as a whole, or whether it's something that we might just roll out for pro members. One of the other much requested features is the ability to filter on the activity feed, and to filter that by various types of activity, such as only show me reviews or lists or what have you. So we've done a little bit of prototyping of that, and you never know, that may end up to be a pro feature as well. We feel that the way that we're splitting stuff between general site features and pro features are the ones that that really mark you out as a dedicated user of the site, and that's I guess the importing facilities. You can be a tire kicker on Letterboxd and give it a go, but if you actually decide that the site is for you and you want to move stuff from IMDb or elsewhere and make Letterboxd your sort of the home of your film watching activities, then going to a pro account level in order to use the importing facilities makes sense. So that's the sort of the thinking behind how we're. But it by no means does it mean that we won't be adding new features to the site
that aren't available to all members, but we make the decision on a case-by-case basis.
Mm-hmm. Going back to the importing, do you ever plan on coming up with an export feature where you can maybe export your lists or your films to like?
We actually have that.
Oh, you do?
We actually have that right now. Yeah.
Oh,
it's
it's
hidden away in the settings page. The ability to export basically all of your account data, more or less, and it comes down as a zip file full of CSVs.
Oh, okay.
And the reason that we made that available is that we feel really strongly that our members' data is their own, and there's been too many services that exist online that lock up your data and give you no way of getting it back. Should you want to have a local backup, or should you decide to abandon the service in favor of doing something else? We're really big believers in letting our members do what they wish with their data. So we haven't had that in there since the start, but it has been in there for several months.
Oh, I see. I didn't even realize it was in there. It's like I would never abandon the site, but at the same time, I was thinking to myself, I'm spending like literally hours and hours adding all these movies, and I just want to back them up. So I'll definitely do that now.
Great. We're pleased to allow you to do that, and hopefully, you'll find some use for those backups, even if it's just peace of mind.
Yeah. One final question. You made a mobile version of the site not too long ago, and it turned out great. Looks great. Any thoughts on possibly an app?
Absolutely. So one of the things that's been on our radar for, right since the site launched is the possibility of a public API, and we've always said that we plan to roll out an API which will enable apps either from ourselves or from third parties. That is still the case. I suppose that the development of the site as a whole was a little bit more time-consuming and a little bit more difficult than any of us imagined when we set out, and that development of the API has been bumped once or twice in favour of more urgent site development requirements, but it is still high on the list, and we'll make an announcement in due course about an API, and with that will come presumably obviously the ability for ourselves and third parties to do an app version. It's something that we want, and so we'll endeavouring to make it happen as quickly as possible.
Great. That I can't wait for that. That's very exciting news. So, Matthew, thank you so much for taking some time to speak with us. Check out letterboxd.com, letterboxd.com.
Thanks very much for having me.
Thanks again, Matthew. So any of you movie lovers out there, if you're listening to this show and you haven't checked out Letterboxd yet, do it. Again, that's Letterboxd with a D at the end.com.
I don't understand if that is indeed possible. If that is if that does happen, if there is someone listening that has not used Letterboxd yet, I'd like to know, because that's perplexing.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about some of what we've been watching. Now, last week I went to the Sarasota Film Festival, so I think I'm just going to highlight some of the stuff that I saw there, because I did see some really great movies. I saw The Hunt, which is the Mads Mikkelsen.
Thomas Vinterberg.
Yeah, he's the guy that did The Celebration, which I never saw, but I always heard great things about it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. He's the founding member of Dogma 95, along with Ben Schrader.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that was they talk a lot about The Celebration in that Side by Side movie.
Oh yeah,
the documentary, because that was like one of the earlier movies that was shot on digital.
Oh, okay, makes sense.
But fantastic movie. I highly recommend checking this out. I think I gave it like an 8.5 in my review. And all the movies that I saw at Sarasota, I have reviews up on the site. It might go up. I gave it an 8.5, but the longer it sticks with me, I think the more I like it. But very, very powerful film. I highly recommend checking it out. It's about a man who is falsely accused of sexually abusing a child. I think it's gonna do very well when it comes out here. And I saw Post Tenebras Lux. I know you were excited about this one.
Yes, I was. I'm pissed off at you.
Beautiful film. Visually, it's an amazing film. It's kind of an art film. So
kind of. I think both feet are firmly planted in the art house terrain here.
It's like broken up into vignettes, sort of, where there is connections between everything. Although there's some things that happen, like periodically they switch to this like rugby game that's, I guess, in somewhere in the UK. These kids playing rugby, and I'm not sure where the connection is with that, but it's definitely not for anybody. This certainly had the most walkouts out of all the movies I saw there.
I enjoy walkouts for some reason.
Yeah, walkouts are.
I'm entertained by watching people walk out. I don't know why.
It depends for me. Like, sometimes I think it's funny. Sometimes I get offended for some reason. Really depends. Like, for Post Tenebras Lux, I didn't mind that. Like, I knew, like, these people, they don't know what they're getting into. It was all old people. They were just going to a movie. And once the weird sex orgy in the bathhouse started, some people were like, all right, that's enough of that.
Orgies? No one told me about orgies. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, so if you're into very visually appealing yet very odd art house films, might want to check that one out. Saw Towheads. This is directed by Shannon Plume, I think. She's the wife of Derek Cianfrance. This movie is about a woman that's having a midlife crisis, and Shannon Plume plays the main character. Derek Cianfrance is in it, playing the husband, and then their two kids in real life are the two kids in the movie. So it's got kind of a realistic feel to it, although it is a completely fictional story. Very funny. Very, very funny. One of the interesting things they do in it is you never see her husband's face. It's always obscured by something. So you get glimpses of it, but you never really see it in focus.
Yeah.
And that's just supposed to be like him, because he's kind of an absentee father / husband, and that it just kind of weighs on her even more, in addition to the everyday stresses of motherhood. But very, very funny film.
Yeah, I've never even heard of this. But
it's another big. Now. Oh, it's really good. You'll like it. It's very, very funny. Then I saw the Dirties, and I hope to have this director, Matthew Johnson. I hope to have him on the show at some point. I would like to talk to him. This is a really interesting film. It's kind of a comedy. I would say it's a dark comedy, but it's shot in a found footage style, and it's about two friends that are making a movie for school, but they're also making a documentary about making that movie. And the interesting thing is that Matthew Johnson, who's making the actual movie of The Dirties, also is the star of the movie, and they all play, like, all the characters' names are actually their names and everything. So that also has this kind of realistic documentary feel to it, but it's one of these where it's like a movie within a movie within a movie.
Gotcha.
And essentially it's kind of about these two kids that are obsessed with movies, and they are making a movie about a school shooting where these two kids get fed up with bullies in their school, and they decide to make a movie about actually killing these bullies, and then it kind of turns into a real life scenario.
Okay.
but it's fantastic. I was so surprised at how much I enjoyed this movie.
Yes, I'm actually, again, never heard of this, didn't know anything about it, and I'm extremely interested in this film.
Yeah, I think that you'll like it. I mean, it's certainly the best use of the whole found footage thing that like I've ever seen. I mean, yeah, I guess it would be considered found footage, but it's almost more like a mockumentary.
Yeah.
And the distinction between those two forms, I think, is kind of gray at this point, but I would say it's more of a mockumentary. Then I saw No One Lives. I don't really want to talk about this too much because it was terrible. The reason that I saw it was that I'm a big fan, or I used to be a big fan of Kitamura, the Japanese director who did Versus, Azumi, Alive, and then he came over here to the States and he did Midnight Meat Train, which wasn't a big fan of. I did rewatch it later and it's okay, but this one is not good. It's a WWE film, so that should give you some sort of indication.
That's a heads up right there.
The only thing I really want to say is that, again, when I saw this screening, there was a lot of old people in the audience, like almost all old people. And one of the characters in this movie is the WWE wrestler Brodus Clay. And he went on stage before the screening started to introduce the movie. And he's like, "Oh, I hope you guys like a lot of blood and guts and violence." And there's this old woman behind me. She just goes, "Oh no, oh no." and her husband goes, "Well, we'll just try it. And if you don't like it, we'll just get up and leave." And the whole time I'm thinking, it's a movie called No One Lives. What did you expect? And of course, probably 5 or 10 minutes in, they left. There were a few, but there were a few walkouts in that one as well. But the funny thing was, where the guy Brodus Clay, where he decided to sit was right in like the aisle that people walk by when they leave the theater. So it was like you had to walk by him to get out of there.
I'm just imagining him like doing death stares, or even stopping the people. Like, where are you going? Where are you going? Where do you think you're going? So you go sit back down. No one leaves until the film's over.
I saw Kings of Summer too, which is...
Oh my god, you're such an asshole.
I absolutely love this movie. I mean, this is probably going to be one of my top movies of the year. We do have a interview lined up with the director. Either way, I loved it, and it comes out May 31st. Just, you'd be doing yourself a disservice if you didn't go see this movie.
I'm going to see it. I'm just really hoping that it comes around here.
Saw Heirs of the Human Body. We also did an interview with the director of this movie. We have that posted on the site, as well as the review. I was surprised with this one at how much I liked it. I was thinking that it was going to be kind of an average thriller, science fiction thriller, and it turned out to be something that I really enjoyed. And it's kind of about genetics and this discovery where these scientists find this way to regenerate human tissue. So for instance, they do an experiment where they cut a mouse's tail off and the tail grows back. It's hard to describe it without giving away any kind of spoilers, but this is currently playing on demand right now, so I would recommend checking that out and look at the interview that we did with the director. Saw Manborg.
I just love the way that you said that. Like you said it like Manborg is a classic film that you're finally just now getting around to seeing. Like you finally did it.
Finally saw Manborg after years. Now this is a lot more fun than I expected it to be. It's one of these movies where it's kind of like a mock 80s or 90s movie. You know what I mean? Like Hobo with the Shotgun or The FP, one of these kind of parody movies. It's pretty funny. It did kind of overstay its welcome, which is, I mean, the movie's only 75 minutes long, but I was still like kind of done with it. Yeah. But I generally like movies like this. I haven't seen Father's Day, but I do plan on watching that to see if it's similar. But it was like just too. It was just too fake. I think in my Letterboxd review, I said that it felt like a modern film that was trying to look like an early 90s film, if that makes any sense at all. You know, like they were trying to make it look old, and some of it worked, some of it, but most of it didn't. It still looked like it was shot on a modern digital camera. And I think that it probably would have been better if it was shot on film. Probably would have looked more of the time. But it's just kind of a dumb, fun movie. I don't know. Light recommend, I guess. I saw To the Wonder, Terrence Malick.
Now, was the new Malick film better than Manborg? I have to know.
Yeah. Well, it was I mean, I don't know if you can really compare the two.
Well, try your hardest.
Well, Kevin, Manborg. No, like I thought that it was okay. To the Wonder was okay. It is another movie where the visuals obviously take precedence. They're leaps and bounds above most movies, but at the same time, the story, the structuring of this movie, it was just sort of directionless. Like you didn't care about the characters, and I felt like a movie that was all about love. I felt that it was almost completely emotionless.
That's not good.
And that really became problematic because, you know, it's a movie that really only has 4 characters, but it sticks with, you know, 2 of them more than the other 2.
Yeah.
And you just don't give a shit about these people. Like Ben Affleck's a douche in it, and it's hard to latch on to them.
Yeah, I think I mean, I haven't seen To the Wonder yet, but judging from the trailer, which is when I watched the trailer, you pretty much know what you're getting with Malick. And I'm to the point now where Malick's not a good director. Like, it's just the cinematographer. Let's just be honest that the cinematographer is amazing. Everything else is terrible.
Yeah, that's exactly what I want to say with this movie. It looks great, but see, the thing is, it's just the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
And it's like, how much of this can I take? Sure, it looks amazing. The last scene looked amazing too. 3 scenes before that looked amazing. But it's all, in this movie, it's all the same with these lingering camera shots of them just doing nothing. Just standing around doing nothing.
Yeah.
Or running in circles. Or playing with grass or something. And it's like, how much of this...
You're making this film seem like a thrill ride.
Well, it is dry. I mean, it's a dry, kind of boring movie.
I'm thinking that like they probably talk to each other in little bits, like poetic little bits here and there, and it's barely, 55 minutes of wheat flowing in the wind.
Yeah,
correct.
Pretty much. Yeah, I mean, a lot of it. There's almost no dialogue at all. Mm-hmm. Ben Affleck has nearly 0 lines in this movie, and most of it is done through voiceover.
What? Malick doing voiceover?
Yeah. So there's almost no actual dialogue. It's more of like these kind of poetic little bits of voiceover.
Yeah.
With what's her name? Olga Krylenko.
Yeah.
Is that how you say her last name?
I think so.
And I mean, performance-wise, everybody was fine.
Like how you ask me. Is that how you say it?
I didn't know if you heard her name spoken before, but
we're the 2 worst people at this.
Yeah, pretty much. Then the only other one I saw is Place Beyond the Pines, but we'll come back to that.
I'll jump into that one then.
What do you got?
What I got? Okay. Well, rewatched 21 Jump Street because I've been dying for comedy, and it was still funny. It was great. Loved it. And then I followed it up with Pale Flower, which is a like a Japanese new wave film from director Masahiro Shinoda, who I saw an earlier film of his called Killers on Parade, which was just like oddball comedy. It was like it's about a group of assassins and they're just ridiculous and it has like a comic book feel to it. So going into this Pale Flower, I'm thinking it's gonna have that same sort of vibe. But this is like the complete opposite. This is just nihilism, just pure nihilism. It's like a nihilist noir almost. Well, not almost, just full on. There's like no comedy in this, and this guy is just stoic, and the only happiness that he gets in life is from killing people. All right? So, and he gets, you believe it, because he gets really happy when he's talking about it. And I mean, it drags here and there, and it's pretty slow going, pretty much the entire film until the end. It starts out with he gets out of prison. He served 3 years for murder. Are you serious? Apparently in Japan, they're okay with killing people. So, and then he's part of the Yakuza. So later on down the road, he's tasked with another hit. He's got to kill another guy. And the way Shinoda films this scene is just amazing. It's just a full Blair opera song. I don't know how I guess opera song? How do you describe an opera? Like a piece from an opera.
Operatic?
Operatic song, something, an aria, or whatever the hell they're called. And it is just amazing. It's so beautiful the way it's done. And to the point where the film is a must-see just to see that scene. And I definitely gonna need to check out a lot more of his stuff because becoming a fan here of Shinoda. And then I watched, for some reason, Dark Shadows.
I was gonna ask you about this. What possessed you to watch this movie?
My wife wanted to see it, and I was like, okay, I'll watch it with you. It was, I don't know what to say. I don't know, because I've never seen the TV show, and I know that this was like a UK soap opera from, was it like the 60s or the 70s, something like that?
Yeah, I think it was 70s, maybe?
I think. So, I mean, I have no basis here. To me, Tim Burton, he could have made like a spot-on remake, and this thing is, amazing. So I don't know, I don't think it's really his fault. I think it's just, I don't like the original idea of this, or anything about it, because he might have like the tone and the look of it might all be spot on. So he might have done a great job, and I just don't like it.
No, it's completely different.
Is it?
I've seen the show. I mean, he puts in elements that are the same, like the locations and the names, and the look of Johnny Depp is somewhat similar to the original, but a lot of the stuff is just he added in and made his own.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm pretty much done with Burton. Even though I enjoyed Frankenweenie, it's just, I don't like his look. I don't like anything he really does. It's just that, I don't know. And that Johnny Depp, I'm just sick and tired of Johnny Depp playing the same damn character all the time. The eccentric weirdo. Just every film, it's just a slight variation of that character, just over and over again. And honestly, when Johnny Depp does like a normal, like modern day role where he just plays a man, it's terrible. He's terrible at it. This is the only character he can play. And it's wearing out its welcome very quickly. And then Chloe Grace Moretz was just abysmal in this film, I thought. But then again, I don't know if like in the show it's a soap opera, so maybe they're overacting because that's what they did on the show. I don't know. I like her a lot, but I didn't think she was good in this either. No, she was awful, and I really didn't understand why she's in the film. The character like does almost nothing throughout the entire film, and then there's like a twist at the end, and you're like, what?
I thought that was horrendous.
And then
I laughed.
Yeah,
I
and
laughed.
They don't even do anything with it.
Yeah, exactly.
She just gets the shit kicked out of her, and then it's over. So what was the point of that? That was awful. I don't recommend that at all, ever. And then I watched Trance. Did you get a chance to watch Trance yet? New Danny
No, I
Boyle
didn't
film?
see Trance. No, I didn't.
Well, I mean, there's worse ways that you could spend your time. But again, I'm getting sick and tired of Danny Boyle's his look and his feel to his films, and the choices that he makes, the stylistic choices in his films are just they're so tiring. And it's
but we talked about this on Letterboxd, and I think that it's since Slumdog that's been happening.
Yeah, and the problem is here what he does is just like every film. It seems like, okay, this film I had 3 tilted camera angle shots, so the next film I'm going to do like 6 or 7, and then like the next film I'm going to do like 12 of those shots. It's just like multiplying, but he's not changing anything. He's not mixing it up or doing anything different. He's just adding, and it's just like the first half of the film. It felt like there was 30 of those tilted camera shots, and it's doing nothing. Like, it's not doing like an action sequence or anything. It's just like people walking to their car. Tilted angle shot. It's like, why? Why are you doing this? And I hate that where he uses that slow frame rate on that like raw digital film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he adds that into the film. Like, again, just multiplies it. And, the last film might have been shown twice. This film it's shown like 5 times. And it's just, I don't get it. It's just awful. And then he breaks the fourth wall for no fucking reason. There's no point to it. It's just a shot of like James McAvoy just staring at you. It's like, why the fuck is this happening? Why is McAvoy looking at me?
I'm still gonna check it out.
And then near the end of the film, like, it's a decent script. It's not amazing or anything. It's your standard thriller type. And I hate at the end where he essentially takes your hand and just walks you through everything and just shows you all the scenes again and just sort of lays it all out on the table for you. And I hate when directors do that. Because it's like, it's insulting, really. It's like, you don't think I can figure it out, Boyle? And then, like, there's a very pivotal scene, and you already know this because they've shown it like 4 times, and you picked it up on the first go-around. And then they're bringing it up again while he's walking you through everything, and they show it in like super slow motion. And it's like, are you kidding me? I know, Boyle. I get it. I'm not an idiot. It's sad all around. But like I said, it's worse ways to spend your time. Then I watched Ken Loach's new film, The Angel Share, which I have a review up on the website for, and this was just bizarre. Like, I heard good things when it played at the festivals and stuff. And it's Ken Loach, the guy that directed Kez and stuff. So I'm thinking, oh, okay, this is going to be a good film. And it starts off that way. It's like really serious, and it's about this guy trying to get his life back together and trying to break away from his past, like his hooliganism. And then just like midway point, just boom, it becomes this like farce, this comical, like, we had to do one last criminal job and our lives are set. And instead of, stealing jewels or like artwork or, robbing a bank or anything, here they're stealing this like old vintage whiskey that was just discovered. It's just hundreds of years old. And it becomes that, and it's exactly like any film you've ever seen with that plot line. It's just one cliche after another. And it's like, what the fuck happened? And it's really bizarre because you have the seriousness from the beginning of the film, and you're like, what the hell happened? He's supposed to go to jail because he beat the shit out of the guy. Almost killed him, okay? And for some reason, him being a father, they're like, we'll let you go. So he gets like community service. So there's a scene before this shift happens where he has to sit down and face the guy that he beat the shit out of with his family. And he he essentially tells the story back to him and his girlfriend that's just had a kid. And it's like emotional. Like he didn't just beat this guy up. He wrecked him. He broke his face. Like, the guy can't see out of his right eye because he broke his face. And then all of a sudden it just turns into this, we're stealing whiskey, yay. It's like, what the fuck happened? And it's just, like I said, one cliche after another. You've seen this movie 100 times already. It's a huge disappointment. So confusing. So that's a no recommend whatsoever. Do not watch that. Stay away. And then I watched The Sporting Life, which is a British film from '63. It's supposed to be a classic about a rugby player, and this was pretty damn good. And the weird thing is I'm watching it, and Richard Harris, he's the main character of the film. I'm like, he looks a lot like Jared Harris, who plays, Lane Price from Mad Men. I mean, they both have that whole where their mouth is slightly open and they sort of shift their lower jaw, like before they say anything. I'm like, man, they are exactly the same. That's weird. Not realizing that I'm saying Richard Harris looks like Jared Harris. And then like 20 minutes later, I'm like, maybe they're father and son. And I felt like the biggest fucking idiot in the world. For some reason, I just couldn't figure it out. So maybe Boyle is correct in thinking that he has to walk me through his movie, because I can't even figure out that two people are related when they look exactly the same, have the same name, and have the same mannerisms. For some reason, it still takes me half an hour. But this film is a little bit too long. It meanders for a bit here and there. But all of the scenes involving Richard Harris and Rachel Roberts are amazing. Of them fighting, it's more brutal than any of the rugby shots that are in the film, and there's a lot of that, which seems to drag it down a little bit. A lot of just extended scenes of him playing rugby, which seemed unnecessary after a while. But it's definitely a highly recommend. Definitely check out this film, and especially Richard Harris. He does an amazing job in this film, and I'm surprised that I've never heard of him.
Well, he was in Unforgiven. He was in a couple of the Harry Potter movies. He's been around.
I have never seen any of those, but yeah, he did.
Gladiator.
He did an amazing job in this film. It's really good. I mean, their fights are brutal. Like, he says, "I love you," and she spits in his face.
Ooh.
Just spits in his face.
Face spit.
They do not like each other. It's a complicated relationship.
Sounds it.
And then I watched, we'll talk about Place Beyond the Pines, and last night I watched Atonement, that Joe Wright film.
I never had any interest in that.
It was interesting. Visually, it looked great. And I like how he fits in like these experimental things that he does. And they work. One of them is an extended one shot of them, like James McAvoy and two of his comrades, I guess, whatever you want to call them, during the war. And they're trudging through, and they finally end up on the beach, and there's all these soldiers there and wrecked ships and all this stuff going on. And it's just one shot of them like walking through everything. And it's amazing, and it's done perfectly. But the actual story of this is, and I can't pronounce her name. I have no idea how to pronounce her name.
Saoirse Ronan?
Yeah. Her character in this film has to be the biggest piece of shit ever. And for anyone that's ever seen this film, they know what I'm talking about. She is the biggest piece of shit ever. Her character is just awful.
Doesn't she accuse somebody of like rape?
Yes,
or something?
she accuses McAvoy of rape, and he goes to prison. And then, of course, he gets out of prison by joining the army and going into the war. And it follows her story too. She's writing. It shows at the end that she'd written this book called Atonement, and it's sort of what you've been watching. But here she changes everything, and that's like the twist. She changes everything in her book, which makes her look even more of an asshole. And I hated her character so much. She's just an awful, awful person. I've never wanted to punch a 13-year-old girl before so much in my life than at the beginning of this film. So kudos to her. She did a really good job of being a shit.
I like her. I think she's talented.
I like her too. She did a great job in this film. But her character is an awful, awful person. So that's like a light recommend. It wasn't too bad. I was pleasantly surprised by that film. And that's it.
All right. Let's go ahead and talk about The Place Beyond the Pines. This opened in select cities, I think, last weekend, and opened up wider this weekend. Written and directed by Derek Cianfrance. Pretty sure I'm pronouncing that right. Probably not, though.
Never.
It stars Ryan Gosling, Ava Mendes, Bradley Cooper, Ben Mendelsohn,
Ray Liotta.
Ray Liotta. Yeah, he's in it.
Rose Byrne, right?
Rose Byrne, yeah. Nice cast. Also, I think his last name's DeHaan.
Oh, Dane DeHaan.
Dane DeHaan.
Yeah. Allentown's own Dane DeHaan.
I like him. I
enjoy him too. And Emery Cohen, who you might remember from if you saw 4. Did you watch 4? You remember that film?
Sounds familiar.
From the Independent Spirit Awards with the guy from The Wire.
Yes, I did see that.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's one of the main characters in that film. And man, he plays an asshole in this film. Place Beyond the Pines. I hated his character so much.
I didn't even recognize him, actually, now that you mentioned it.
Exactly. I didn't either. Because I kept thinking to myself, I'm like, that guy looks familiar. I know him from something. But it turned out to be 4. I was thinking something completely different.
Wow. Okay. Well, anyway, this let me read the synopsis here. A motorcycle stunt rider turns to robbing banks as a way to provide for his lover and their newborn child. A decision that puts him on a collision course with an ambitious rookie cop navigating a department ruled by a corrupt detective.
That is a terrible synopsis.
It is a terrible synopsis. Really, what this is about is it's sort of 3 separate chapters. It's a story that it all goes together. It's all linked, but it's told in 3 specific acts. And I think that we were talking about this a little bit before we started recording. I think that the issue with this movie comes due to the fact that the first act is so strong. And I mean, it comes right out of the gate. Like, the opening titles were awesome. I thought everything about the first part of it was good. And then it just slowly started not falling apart, but just kind of getting dull. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And by the end, I was
you don't care anymore.
Yeah, I was completely tuned out by the end.
I'm doing a Ryan move where I keep checking my watch, like how much time I got left here.
Yeah, even though I don't want it to sound like I wasn't into the performances of that final act with Dane DeHaan, but I just was not that into it by that point.
No, and I look at this movie as sort of it's essentially a trilogy where, everyone's in love with trilogies nowadays. Every goddamn film has to be a trilogy. So Cianfrance essentially takes that idea, makes them a little bit shorter, and then jams them all into one film. That's really how you need to look at this. And it's just sort of when the first act is over, the end of that story, it just jumps to another character, and then for the second act you go through his story, and then it jumps to another character. And with them doing that, I feel as though, even though this movie is like 140 minutes long, there is little to no character development. Like, they don't spend any time making me care about any of these characters, which is essentially the whole point of this film. Is it's trying to be this emotional film, and it fails completely because I don't connect with any of them.
Yeah, and I think that it's interesting because even though I did like some of the characters, they each had their flaws, and I think that with Bradley Cooper's character, I never really knew kind of where he stood. You would believe that he's like this good kind of stand-up cop, this righteous cop, but then he would do something that's kind of shady, and then he'd kind of try to redeem himself, and then it always just seemed like he was kind of a conflicted character. I thought that a lot of the female roles in this movie were pretty underdeveloped.
Oh, yeah. Like Rose Byrne didn't...
Yeah.
I mean, she got nothing in this film.
Yeah, and you always knew that there was some sort of tension happening between the two of them, but you never really knew what was going on with that. But overall, I would say it did feel overly long, and I think that part of that is due to the fact that it's structured the way it is. And I don't know, maybe it would have been better if they did things kind of in reverse order and put Gosling's part at the end.
Yes, it's something. Something. And the other thing about it that essentially makes it lose interest so much is as the story goes on, you realize that everything fits together so nicely. Like everything is forced together. There's no really surprises, and then it comes a bit predictable. Like you pretty much know what the hell's going to happen in the third act. You know exactly how it's going to play out.
Yeah, I think
it's really disappointing.
Yeah, everything was such a nice little tight package. I mean, like there were certain things that happened in the third act where you're just like, well, that's kind of a crazy coincidence. Why did these two people become best friends all of a sudden out of everyone
everyone in the world in this whole fucking school? He's like, I'm gonna hang out with this guy.
And I think that there were things like that really kind of detracted from me, at least. But overall, I mean, I'm not going to say that I disliked the movie. I did enjoy it for the most part. I just feel like it could have been cleaned up and just a tighter story made out of it.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I'm completely speculating here, but I don't know. It sort of felt like the studio had too much input into this film. You know what I mean? It just, everything was so nice and wrapped up with a little tiny bow. Just everything fits so perfectly together.
With all the interviews that I've been watching and stuff that I've been reading about this movie, I don't think that was the case. Because I heard that he actually finished this script before working on Blue Valentine. So he's been kind of sitting on this script for a while. And he said that from the beginning he wanted to do it like how he did with the three stories that were completely separate from each other, not like interwoven like what we see with movies like Crash, for instance.
Yeah, which I'm tired of that.
Interwoven.
Yeah. Oh
stories.
My God, that's been done to death. So I am happy that he didn't do that. He sort of did it in a different way. I have to say, like, yeah, I like the premise. I like the idea. It's an interesting concept of what he's doing. It wasn't compelling in any way to me. I mean, there was enjoyable aspects. I love like the camera work, especially the music is great as well, which is Mike Patton, the lead singer of Faith No More. He does an amazing job of the music in this film, and especially the shot of Gosling's character riding his motorbike down the winding hill through the woods, and how they have the camera following, but like essentially on a crane looking down on him, and then replicating that shot with his son at the end of the film. Oh my God, that to me was just amazing.
Yeah. So I think in the end, I'm gonna say I feel like it was pretty average. It didn't blow me away, but I would still give it a light recommend. Where do you think you would be sitting on it?
I would say recommend. I mean, it was a huge disappointment for me because remember back when we were talking about our anticipated films, I essentially said based off of the trailer that this movie looks like it's going to be my favorite movie of the year. And I'm a huge fan of Derek Cianfrance and really excited. It's just a huge letdown. There's still, like I said, a lot of enjoyable aspects to it. And one of them being Ben Mendelsohn. That guy's killing it left and right in every film he's in.
Yeah, he's
unbelievable.
Fantastic.
And he is amazing in this film. Just completely steals the film. Easily the most enjoyable portion. Ray Liotta, I'm getting sick and tired of, is a corrupt cop. It's the only damn character he plays. And another pretty strong showing from Bradley Cooper. He's slowly winning me over.
Performance-wise, I thought everybody did pretty decent job. I mean, obviously, like you said, Ray Liotta doesn't. I mean, that's kind of his thing.
That's Ray Liotta, man.
Which is fine. He does it. He does a good job at it. I mean, that's his thing. So,
and like we were discussing earlier before recording is, I gotta mention, Gosling just he's playing that same character. He's playing that drive character, and I'm hoping this break does him some good, and he sort of, stretches out his acting chops a little bit here because he keeps playing the same character, and it's getting a little tiresome.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that he has the ability to do.
He does.
That,
I don't want to see him do other things because this whole drive character is it's gonna wear out its welcome. Because he looks like he's
Yeah.
playing that exact same character in Only God Forgives. It's just like, that's him now.
It depends. I mean, if the movie's good enough, I could probably deal with it.
But I have to say that when he screams during his bank rob, he's... Please, if you haven't seen the film, just pay very close attention when he's robbing banks. It is hilarious. It
sounds like a 14-year-old.
Yeah, it's so bizarre because he plays such a badass, tough character. And then when he opens his mouth and tries to scream, oh my goodness. Oh, please, Adam, do this. When this film comes out, try and get audio clips of that. Because I want that to be something. We're going to make that something.
Oh, when this comes out on DVD, we'll do something.
Oh, love it.
Well, there you have it. Place Beyond the Pines. We do have a review. Ernie reviewed, I think it was Ernie, right? He reviewed it back when it came out a couple weeks ago. So you can go to the site and check out his thoughts. Let's move on and do some predictions. Next week, Pain and Gain, Michael Bay.
Pain and Gain. This actually looks slightly funny.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could be funny.
I have to say, I love anytime Wahlberg is in a comedy.
Oh, yeah.
To me, he's absolutely hilarious.
So what are you thinking on Pain and Gain?
Pain and Gain, I think that's going to land in the middle area. I'm going to go like a 64. I'm
going to say, I'll say 62 on that. The Big Wedding. This looks horrible to me, at least.
They couldn't even come...
The Big Wedding.
They couldn't even come up with a name for it.
Of course, Robin Williams plays the whoever, the guy that's marrying them.
Who cares? Who cares?
I'm going to say...
12. Oh, it's your turn. I'm sorry. My apologies.
No, it's fine. I'm going to say 40.
40. Ooh. I'm gonna stick with my 12.
12?
Sticking with it.
All right. And then finally we have Mud.
Oh, about time. Still not gonna come around to my area.
Nope.
Mud.
Hearing great things.
I know.
Looks pretty great.
I'm excited. I'm really excited. I'm really bummed out that we didn't get to see that at South by.
Yep.
I'm gonna say...
It was also playing at Sarasota, and I missed it there.
I'm gonna say like a 88.
I will say 86 on Mud. That'll do it for releases in theaters. DVD and Blu Ray, we have Central Park 5, which actually aired on PBS this week. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I do want to see that. It looks good.
Yeah, I've been hearing nothing but amazing things.
Yeah, so probably want to check that out. Gangster Squad, if you haven't seen this already, I'd just go ahead and skip that. I did like it. I mean, I'm standing by what I originally said, that I did enjoy the movie, but I will also agree that it is not a very good movie. A Haunted House, I think we can all agree that that's
amazing.
A brilliant piece of cinema.
Yes.
I think
Marlon Wayans. That is correct, sir.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
The Impossible. It's not the kind of movie for me. Let's just put it that way. But I think that a lot of people will like that movie. It is kind of worth checking out just to see the crazy tsunami scene at the beginning. Mm-hmm. This effects work on that is out of control. It's so good. It's so real looking. It is an extremely melodramatic movie. There's a lot of sappy, cheesy dialogue. Yeah. And there's a lot of just ridiculous things that happen that you're just like, there's no way that's what happened in real life.
That can't be correct.
I mean, it is based on a true story, but there's just no way that it played out like that. So I would say a light recommend on The Impossible. I mean, if you have a nice home theater, it's probably cool to watch it on Blu-ray. And then we have Promised Land.
Ooh.
Starring Kevin Rakestraw.
That's right.
John Krasinski, Matt Damon. I I'm not gonna bother with this
No,
one.
this looks awful. This looks terrible.
Is it Gus Van Sant?
Yeah.
Is that who directed this one? Yeah.
Gus, come on.
Gus. And then one of your favorites, Wuthering Heights.
Wuthering Heights. That's a recommend, I guess. I don't know. I would never watch it again.
No, I would never watch it again. But visually, again, it's visually pleasing.
Yeah, it's beautiful film to look at, and Robbie Ryan, the cinematographer, is amazing. And that reminds me when I watched the Angels Share, when the credits roll in the front, it says Robbie Ryan, cinematographer, and I get all excited. I'm like, oh my god, this is gonna be great. Ken Loach, Robbie Ryan, I don't understand why the hell they hired Ryan to do the cinematography in that film, because it's just bland as all hell. It's just like workman-like. Put the camera here. They're gonna do their scene. We'll go to the next scene and the next scene. It's just ridiculous. Fuck you, Angel.
Well, that's all I have as far as releases. Did you have anything to add?
There's 2 Criterions, both of which I have no interest in whatsoever. But again, they're Criterion, so they're amazing. One's Shakespeare, Richard III, Laurence Olivier. I would not recommend that just because it's Shakespeare. And the other one is Pierre. I have no idea how to pronounce it. Ite, something like that. It's like a anthology, I guess. A couple films on there. I think it's like a old comedy type, in the vein of like Chaplin, but the French version. So I don't know anything about it though. Never seen any of them. But again, they're Criterions, so they're good.
Probably.
Yeah.
Well, I think that wraps it up. For all the latest film news and reviews, visit us at filmpulse.net. And want to hear your feedback, send us an email, feedback@filmpulse.net. Follow us on Twitter @filmpulsenet, and be sure to rate us on iTunes. We appreciate that very much. For filmpulse.net, my name is Adam.
And I'm Kevin.
And we will see you on Wednesday for the return of Ryan Watches a Movie.
Oh, Ryan's back. Full force. Hotlines for everything.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't there one? I'm trying to remember what it was, but wasn't there one for like Nintendo? Where like if you were stuck. Yeah, if you were stuck, you would call in the hotline and it would help.
Yeah.
What the fuck?